I'm gonna be real with you. My Xbox Series X has been gathering a bit of dust while I've been relearning my favorite FPS games on PC. The Xbox Series X frankly doesn't have enough going for it unless I really want to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint at 60 FPS or see ray trace shadows in Black Ops Cold War. Yeah, the loading times are comically fast even on a third-party USB SSD, but that doesn't reinvent games as much as you might think. It doesn't change the way the game feels, it just changes how fast you get to it. Really, in order to make a game feel more modern, there are two things you have to do to it. Increase the FPS and the resolution. And yes, in that order. I was going to make a video about how the Xbox Series X wasn't really worth it. I was going to talk about how it's only worth it if you are upgrading from an OG Xbox or an Xbox One S, how the console would only be good for PC gamers if they had Game Pass Ultimate and wanted portability, and while new games and new IPs should be the focus of next-gen consoles, there's one feature that every piece of high-end gaming hardware should have, in my opinion. It's the ability to breathe new life into older games. Cranking up the FPS and resolution of last-gen and current-gen games should have been Microsoft's #1 priority, especially in the void left by Halo Infinite. And hell, Microsoft's commitment to backwards compatibility should have made this obvious, but instead I was left wondering when my Xbox Series X would show its real purpose. Yeah, I am looking forward to, and I do need to try out some Xbox Series X games that take advantage of the hardware. Games like The Medium or Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, but damn, I'm still left feeling out of the loop while being $500 poorer. And all of the best games I played last year were PS4 games. Games that look great and load fast and are just so well optimized for the hardware they're on. So, what the heck was Microsoft planning, and why did I spend $500 on a new Xbox that hardly even feels new when comparing it to my Xbox One X? Well, at the risk of sounding like an advertisement, the answer is here, and I could not be more excited. After years of buying Xbox games and creating a massive collection of over 300 titles, plus Game Pass, a blast of fresh air is coming my way. The new FPS boost feature allows Microsoft to double or quadruple your game's FPS without any help from the original developers, and this combined with Auto HDR has made me actually more than just excited. I was able to test out Far Cry 4 and Sniper Elite 4, and oh my god, this reinvents them and makes them feel so much better. This is a feature that's usually reserved for gaming PCs, loading up older software on newer hardware and pushing it to its limit. But this isn't even the game's code allowing me to do this. This isn't even Ubisoft allowing me to do this. I am playing Far Cry 4 here at 60 FPS on a hardware level. It's not a marketing gimmick. It's not a big patch. Ubisoft didn't do this. Microsoft did. Games like Red Dead, Sonic Generations, Arkham Knight, Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy 15, The Crew 2, Splinter Cell Blacklist, Far Cry 5, Shadow of War, and any pre-Valhalla AC game could have their frame rates doubled or quadrupled. Kingdom Hearts 3 could be 120 FPS, Red Dead 1 could be 60 FPS, Sonic Generations could be 60 FPS, Arkham Knight could be 60 FPS on console. Even games that have the ability to switch from quality to performance mode, like Final Fantasy 15, could just be locked at 60 FPS even in quality mode. Because this console is powerful enough to run games above 1080p at 60 FPS. Imagine you load up a game like Dark Souls 3, and you have an HDR 60 FPS experience instead of an SDR 30 FPS experience. It's a massive change. 60 FPS is the base standard that all games should meet, and it's time for Microsoft to remove that ugly 30 FPS standard from their platform. And they are, for free. No $60 ports, no original devs required. Games like New Super Lucky's Tale, UFC 4, Sniper Elite 4, Far Cry 4, and Watch Dogs 2 now have increased frame rates. Some of those games aren't even Xbox One X enhanced, some of those games are. Super Lucky's Tale goes all the way up to 120 FPS, where on the One S it was 30 FPS, meaning for $500 the Xbox Series X is a lot sexier, because when it comes to next-gen games, current-gen games I guess now, that take full advantage of the hardware, that'll be amazing, but revisiting your old favorites, stuff like Far Cry 4 or Sniper Elite 4, games like this could be running at double the frame rate you left them at. Maybe you beat Arkham Knight years ago, and Maybe over time, the 30 FPS has left you feeling nauseous because you're a stupid elitist. Well, good, because the original developers or publisher of Arkham Knight don't need to be involved if Microsoft just wants to add it to the list of FPS boosted games. I'm going to be watching Microsoft's Twitter page like a hawk. I used to do this when they introduced backwards compatibility. I was always excited to see what games were going to be backwards compatible, and then later, I was so excited to see what games were going to be Xbox One X enhanced, and now I'm waiting for my games to be bumped up to 60 FPS. Seeing how Far Cry 4 released in 2014 and it was Far Cry's first debut on next-gen consoles, the fact that that game got its frame rate doubled is impressive. Meaning anything from 2014 onward could get a massive increase in its quality. I really hope they implement this for resolution as well, so maybe a game like Arkham Knight wouldn't just run at 60 FPS, it could be 4K 60 FPS if the game can handle it, or at least above its current resolution. Microsoft is also going to be implementing a feature that allows you to toggle off auto HDR and the frame rate boost if you want to play the game in its original style. But the fact that they also said they're willing to do this for Xbox 360 games makes me incredibly excited. Let me know what games you would revisit with this feature, whether you are on PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo, I don't care. This is a PC level feature, the ability to come back to old software, old games, and just have a dramatically better experience due to the price you paid on your new hardware. If you spend $500 on a gaming console that's as powerful as an RTX 2080, playing games in 900p 30 FPS feels shitty, and waiting and hoping for developers to eventually patch games also feels pretty terrible. So knowing that Microsoft is willing to reach their hand all the way back into 2014 and breathe life into Far Cry 4 gives me so much hope for some of my favorite video games. Either way, thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.